Hi everyone. Today I'll be talking about the Eurozone crisis. So let's begin. Why did this crisis originate? Let's just get to the epicenter of the problem, and we know where the epicenter lies. That's Greece. So why is Greece in so much trouble? It's all basically boils down to the mismanaged fiscal policy of the government. Now, what do you understand by fiscal policy? Fiscal policy is something which is like government spending and the government expenditure and the government revenues. So, in Greece, what really happened is, the government spending was to a very large extent, and the revenues which the government was earning through taxes were very little. So it really meant that the Greece government, had a very high fiscal deficit, and people were also avoiding taxes, which only worsened the situation. So which means that government was having a very high fiscal deficit. Then you had, in Greece, the Olympic Games, which meant the government had to incur huge amount of expenses because on infrastructure projects like stadiums, airports, which also made a big impact on the government revenues. So all that, which meant that the Greece government had to borrow a lot in order to continue with this. So that really fueled debt-laden economy, and Greece had a huge debt load, and it also used to have a lot of public, the public sector wages in Greece were also very high compared to the other eurozone economies. So in all, the government spending was very high as far as Greece is concerned. So when the crisis hit, that the debt level of the economies was very high, they were like shell shocked. So and they could not repay their debts. They had a certain timeline according to which all those government bonds that they take, they have to make the payments. But because of the high debt level, they could not repay those payments, and the Greeks defaulted. So they approached the IMF, the European Union, and the European Central Bank for help. And so they came out, these three bodies together came out with a bailout package of about combined of about 250 billion euros. Even then, people say that Greece is still in trouble because the austerity conditions which have been imposed by these three bodies are very tough. Austerity means that the government will be spending less and less and earning more on increased tax revenues, which has hit the livelihoods of Greeks to a very large extent. There is already very high unemployment in Greece. It's very difficult to find any jobs in Greece, and it's very tough for the people out there. Some people are not getting enough to eat, and more and more people are moving into poverty. So how can this crisis worsen? Because now what remains to be seen is, will Greece be able to repay its loans which it has taken? If it doesn't, the banks which have lent money to the Greek government, they'll have to write off the loans because there's no way that money is coming back. So which might make these banks wary of lending to other banks because their balance sheet already has taken a huge dent, a huge blow, and this might just spark off another credit crunch like we had back in 2008. So it's a very tough time for the eurozone, and it remains to be seen what solutions the European Union as a whole can come up with. Now the interesting question is, what will happen if Greece leaves the eurozone? That is certainly a possibility. And there's a very good chance of that happening. If and when Greece leaves the eurozone, obviously it will forbid, it will wave goodbye to the euro and re-adopt the drachma which it had before the euro kicked in. And if that happens, the drachma will be grossly undervalued, and it will again impact the Greeks because their currency will be very undervalued, and again they'll have to go for strict austerity measures which are even, I mean, they're already living under very tough conditions, and for them to again go under such tough conditions will be very hard. So let's see what happens. Thank you.